Hey, yo, what up, chat? It's your Icy Dicey here. Today I'm gonna be ranking every risk to Seekers of the Storm items. Um, as you all know, Seekers of the Storm came out with a lot of items. Not actually that many. It's like 17, I think. So I'm gonna be ranking them all. I guess you can consider this like an update to my previous tier list I made. Since they did add more items. This is before any balance patches, so some of these might change, like the antlers and all that. So these are going to be my opinions before they got changed. So yeah, let's just get started. Warp Deco. First and foremost, Warp Deco is a little interesting. It's an interesting effect, but overall, if you don't consider any bugs with it, I think it's a C tier item. It's not that good. It's kind of mediocre. All it does is it splits the incoming damage by half, which is okay. It makes items like Medkit and other forms of healing a little good, because they'll hit the first shot and then you'll get hit with the second portion of the damage. It's a okay item. It's a little bugged in some ways that are both bad and good. In Eclipse 8, it makes you take extra perma damage, which sucks ass. Makes you not want to pick it up in that. Like, don't even bother type of shit. And also, it's really broken with things like Shield, where you just constantly keep regenerating your health back. Like, there's some weird interactions that, like, every item on this tier list has some kind of bug with it, I'm sure. But, like, this one is just kind of weird. If you're considering the bugs, I'd probably put it A tier, because the Transcendence bug with this is incredibly stupid and dumb. Probably S tier even, but on its own, it's not that good. But it's okay. It does make Medkit better. You get 2 little healing procs from it, and it does save you in some situations, but I don't think it's really necessary to have your damage cut in half, because, like, it doesn't add that much to your build. And if you're in, like, Eclipse 8, it's just worse for you. It doesn't really add anything to your build. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. Is if you pick this up, it's kind of just whatever. It doesn't really add much, you know. And yeah, alright. Next up, Chronic Suspension. This is usually the best white item. I'm putting in B tier. Honestly, probably A, because there's an unintended mechanic that can give you infinite damage. If you get a Soulbound Cows, and forgive me, please. This thing doesn't have a limit of how many times it can proc on itself. Most on-kill effects do have some kind of limit of, like, how much, like, stats they can increase. This doesn't. Like, stuff like, whatchamacallit, what's an example? I just saw something made out. Berserker's Pauldron, it does proc itself, but it doesn't increase every time. Chronic Suspension increases every stack. Instead of having, like, a hard limit that you need to pick up more stacks, or it could go on endlessly. And it can make you automatically get you run to a god run. You need 3 items, forgive me please. This item and a Soulbound Callus. You pretty much can win the run at that point. Just keep farming up kills. Soulbound Callus, you just have to wait 5 seconds. Whatever. If you grab a Field Cell, you don't even have to worry about it. Or Jester, you can just go to Bazaar, free win. Like, this item is stupid. On its own, it's probably B tier. It's pretty good. It's definitely the best white item on here. It's actually kind of good. I do like the effect of it, and I do like more on-kill items in the game. I think we do need more. All they really need to do this time is add a limit, and add more when you stack it. That's all they need to do. It's kind of broken right now because of that. It's only broken in the situation, but its own. It's really good. You can easily just in a teleporter fight. It's mostly good for, like, early to late game. Everything aside from, like, Mythics, I'd say. Mythics says you can kind of use it though. If you kill something. You can just kill, like, a bunch of weak enemies, like wisps, jellyfish, pests, whatever, and boom, you get, like, a bunch of free damage. You can start wailing in on the boss. Pretty good item. Kind of interesting. One of the items I actually like more in the DLC is similar to, like, the Berserker's Pauldron, where you have, like, you want to kill, like, the weaker enemies to get the buff, so you can do more DPS to the boss, which I appreciate. A tier. Knockback Fit. Now, aside from this item being kind of funny, it is pretty bad. It doesn't add much to it, and you need a lot of it to make it do something. The knockback is pretty weak on its own. In fact, it could probably be more of a hindrance than a benefit. This item is kind of funny, and honestly, I mean, I wouldn't really give a fuck if they changed it or not. Like, this is probably my favorite bad item in the DLC. So, yeah, I mean, it just knocks things in the air. It doesn't really help you. But enough of them, you can do fall damage with it, which is kind of funny. Or you can even knock them off the stage, which is also pretty cool. And I do like the knockback interactions in the game, so... I mean, I do have a soft spot for it, but I mean, I cannot deny it is complete horseshit. Bowstring Lantern. I put this one slightly above Warped Echo. When you're below 50% health, you do 20% more damage. Now, if you could always have this in effect, it'd be pretty good. But, you know, Risk of Raid's a game that you can't really reliably do that, and most people don't like to be constantly low health, unless I guess if you're Rex. But, like, intentionally getting yourself a low health is very risky, and it gets harder and harder to do later in the run. And it's not really worth it when you have better white items, like Focus Crystal, you know, watches. And watches, you don't want to break those. Imagine that with watches. You get 25% health. Ooh. Yeah, there's a lot of better white items. Pretty much every other damage white item is better than this thing. This thing's just straight up doggy water. Doggy water. Dog water. But yeah, don't pick it up. Well, actually, I mean, it's fine. If they are below 50% health, it is kind of cool. I don't know why it's a lantern, though. I actually don't get the philosophy behind that. Why is it like a lantern doing damage? It seems like it would give you like fire damage. I kind of get the others. I don't really get why a fin knocks back things, but it's kind of in line with Risk of Rain, if I'm being real. The chronic expansion, sure, whatever. Warped Echo makes sense. And yeah, alright, now accept the antlers. Lucid Antlers is a new one, right? What are they called? Reflective Antlers? I don't actually remember the name. They're reworking this to make it a speed item that you like pick up things and increase the speed. It'd probably be like a B tier item when it comes out, which is cool and all. But I'm ranking as it is right now. This item is alright. Compared to a lot of other bad items. I mean, it does have a proc chance, which is kind of cool. Basically, this item, when an enemy hits it, you have a 55% chance, I think it is, to reflect the damage back out of them. And it's the enemy's damage. Enemies don't do a whole lot of damage to you in Risk of Rain, and enemies pretty quickly outscale your damage. So, the amount of damage you're doing back to them is pretty mediocre to bad. You know, there's a better version of this item that's also green. It's called Razor Wire. Razor Wire could also be self-proc, which just makes it infinitely better. You can just get a Hellfire Tincture. This thing doesn't benefit from it. The enemy needs to hit you for this to proc. But yeah, the only good thing I guess I could say about it does have a proc chance, which is why I'm putting it above Knockback Fin. But aside from that, it's not helpful. If it made you immune to the damage the enemies fired at you, I'd probably put it in C tier. That'd be kind of cool, honestly. Hey. But that'd be too similar to Teddy Bear, I guess. Or any, like, reflected damage. Like, you know, you proc, like, safer spaces. I mean, it wouldn't actually be that useful if I'm being real. They'd probably still be in D tier now that I think about it. But it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, this item's getting reworked. It's a completely different thing, which is kind of cool. But whatever. Personally, it is D tier for me, though. But we'll rank Elusive Antlers when that comes out and all the other new items. Alright, moving on to the green ones. Chance Doll. Chance Doll is cool. I like it. It's a B tier. What this does, it gets an increased chance of rarity. I think it's 20% when you interact with a shrine. So the items upgrade. So white goes to green, green goes to red, red goes to boss items, I believe. That's how it works. But you get less like white items and orange equipment items and all that. So that's how it works, which is pretty cool. And having more green items and red items could be a good thing. You have increased chances for Hopu feathers. You know, that's pretty cool. We got bands, ATGs, all that good stuff. Will-O-Wisp, Sail Star. We're gonna talk about that soon. Made prayer beads. Like, cooking here. Good item. More red items. Oh, you get headset. You get Sonorous Whispers, the goat. Spoilers. You already know this is going S tier, but you know, yeah, pretty good item. I do like this one. And I don't think they should change it, honestly. I do like the thought of it. I think it's a very cool item. I like economy items in Risk of Rain, and there isn't a whole lot of them. Sail Star and this and Sonorous are 3 more economy items that like increase like the amount of items you get, or can like upgrade them. I think the item very conceptually is probably my second or third favorite item in the entire DLC. It's very cool. I love this item. If I had to put a favorites one, this thing would go up in S tier. Prayer Beast is also pretty cool. This thing is like top of B tier, low A. This thing's actually kind of cracked. I'm going to put it at A tier because right now it's kind of stupid. It has the chronic expansion effect where Gearbox didn't play test this item at all with anything, and it ended up getting broken. Now, first and foremost, it levels up on its own and individually collects levels. When you pick this thing up, it's basically like adding another character onto you. It gives you like, I think it's like a reduced amount of stats to like a level up. I don't remember the exact stats, so I'll have to go on the wiki. Yeah, I didn't do enough research. I'm sorry, guys, but it like will store up like health, damage, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And when you get rid of it, it will give you those buffs, which is really cool. But the thing that makes it broken, why am I putting in A tier, is if you find a printer of these, you can infinitely farm damage, health, damage, like all that shit by just getting this item. You print one, you just go in the printer, you get a bunch of them, like get rid of all your greens, start killing a couple enemies, level up, get rid of them, and you repeat the cycle endlessly. It's so stupid that you can just do that. Oh, you're basically back at level 1 again. Oh, kill a couple enemies. Oh, back level 2. Go to print them back. Boom, got the stats, and then you keep repeating that cycle. And honestly, it's like probably the best item in the game if you get a printer of it. I guess this actually kind of is intended because when you do get rid of the item, it does give the stats back, and when you pick up a new one, the cycle does repeat. So I think this kind of is actually intended, but what they should do is probably remove it from the printer pool, like green scrap. That one you can't ever see in printers because you can just farm infinite scrap. Should probably remove that from it, if I'm being real. I think that would be a good decision, but right now, it's really funny. And if you get it, it's kind of goated. Alright. Next up is Luminous Shot. Top of C tier. This item kind of sucks. It actually is a lot worse than you think it is. There isn't really actually very very characters that actually benefit from this at all. I've messed around with this like with basically every other character. The added bonus on it just isn't good enough to justify picking up. It's really weak, actually. And it's a really cool idea in theory. I like the idea of charging up like a primary attack. But most like survivors use their primary attack mainly. And the ones that don't actually get much benefit off it. Railgunner doesn't get like snipe shot buffed. It's her little like homing attack. It's not even like her sniper rifle, which makes it kind of ass that way, because or like M2, you like scope it and then shoot it. It counts as the secondary shot instead of the primary one. With Rex, I mean, you do spam your secondary quite a bit when you're using the one that just goes off cooldown immediately, so it does have a little bit of benefit. And like accurate, if you're playing with spit, you're probably just gonna spit all over the place. False Sun can use it kind of well. Aside from that, it doesn't really add much other than a little bit more damage. I mean, it's not terrible, but like, I'd definitely scrap it. I don't think it's worth really keeping. So yeah. Next up is Sales Star. Now, Sales Star, I mean, it's a pretty good item. This item has a lot more potential. It's basically the recycler of green items, as I call it. When you open up a chest, you get it gives you 2 items. And I think there's like chance to get like 3, 4, or even more the more you pick up. Increased chance to get more. It's kind of cool. I like this item a lot. It makes you think. Like, you sometimes forget. I always forget I have the Sales Star, and I open up a small chest instead of like the legendary or something. But yeah, this item is pretty cool. Economy items are always pretty good in Risk of Rain. This one's definitely one of the stronger ones, and the potential to get 2 red items from legendary chest or an extra good green item, pretty good, pretty worth it. Always worth to play around the Sales Star for that chance of getting a good item, which makes it S tier. Probably like put in tiers like middle of S tier. Pretty damn good. It's pretty good just because of how it functions. Yeah. Alright. Now my least favorite item in the whole DLC. Now, honestly, this is probably here, but I hate this item so much I'm putting it at the bottom of the D tier. Now, why is this item bad? It just is. Let's just put it that way. When you get to low health, it teleports you to a random spot on the map. It doesn't matter where it is. It could be anywhere. And there's no like immediate, there's no indication of it. It's just immediate. It's really annoying and disorienting of an item. I wish there was more indication that like tells you, like obviously it teleports you immediately. So you have that indication, but you're like, okay, you've been teleported in here. And it teleports you to a random spot. This could either be really good or really bad. I had a situation where I was fighting like a blazing stone titan. I got to low health. I think it was from like a different enemy. It was charging up its laser. You want to know where I teleported? I teleported right in front of the guy. Like, and I got, and then I died. Not a good item. Let me tell you, I've never had this item save me. It can save you in theory, but it's really random. And for that, I hate it. Honestly, it's probably better than all of these, and probably like mid D tier item, but like I hate it so much that I'm just gonna put a bottom D tier. Not getting up there. Alright, now we're talking about bad green items. Noxious Thorn. This thing is actually worse than... Right now, it's completely bugged, not even to work. And it just... When you get hit, it applies a stack of bleed. Come on, man. Honestly, it doesn't work, apparently. There's like some bug with it that you make enemies attack each other, but it's like... I mean... I guess that's enough to move it up a bit. I think I'd rather have the antlers, personally. You know this item? I think half of the green items are good. The other half are like, man, more green item slop. Alright. Moving on to red items. Growth Nectar. Growth Nectar is a very weird item in this game. It's basically opposite Death Mark. If you get 5 buffs, like in your little buff bar on like the bottom left of your screen, you get a 20% stat boost. I think it's like 2 Radiant Pearls worth, which is pretty cool if you do get it. But it's kind of weird how this game considers what's a buff and what's not, and some characters do benefit from more from others. Like Bandit has like 20 buffs, so you can just proc it, and it's very inconsistent on how it procs as well, because like it'll proc and then it'll like deproc itself. It's not like Death Mark where you just need to get to the 4 and then it'll last a certain time. Like, so as you lose like that 5th like buff, it sometimes just goes away. It's really weird and buggy, and it's like one of those items that are only good if you have a lot of items with it. It literally is Death Mark, so unfortunately it's gonna send C tier. I mean, it's pretty good once you get enough of it, but even then, is 20% more stat increase really worth it at times? I think I'd rather just trade my lunar items in for like a pearl or something, or just pick up any other item. There's a lot of other better ones. Alright, Runic Cleanse. This one goes in S tier. This item is pretty damn good. Now, why is this item good? It's basically a really, really strong proc item. 5% chance to do that, 2000% damage, and it can proc. It's the only proc item in the game, correct me if I'm wrong, that can proc back into itself in a chain. So there's a concept in Risk 2, like when you proc chain, the item can't proc back at something. So if an ATG procs in ukulele, the ukulele cannot proc an ATG back into it. If an ATG procs this thing, the ATG can proc it, and then it can proc itself back again and proc the same item from before. It's the mechanic called overspill. So it's kind of crazy that. And 2000% damage is pretty damn strong. This thing, if you get it early on in a run, especially like Commander or something, it does a lot. It is very good. It's better than, it's like Charge Perforator ATG on crack. This thing's really strong. It's a very, very good item. At first when I saw this, I'm like, that's not that good. But once you actually use it, you're like, this shit is crazy. It's a lot of damage. Trust me, this item is goated. One of the best red items in the game. Like, actually, it's really good. I think they're gonna rework it, which is fine. I don't know what they're gonna change it into. There's a lot of items that could have been reworked, but yeah. War Bonds. Alright, some doo-doo. You know this item gets outclassed by a white item. Roll of pennies. Everybody knows that is bad. This is like the bad item in the DLC. It's a red item too. If it was a white item, it'd be fine. I'd probably put it up like, I don't know, C tier. It'd be fine. If it was a green item, Top of D tier. Outclassed by Gore's Tome, but I mean, whatever. Could be worse, right? But as a red item, come on, man. What is this? I know there's bad red items in the game, but like, Aegis is better than this, buddy. Like, Nuka Hanas is better than you. You get more benefit out of those two than you do this thing. At least those two can do something. Albeit it'll take a bit. Especially like Aegis, bro. That shit ain't healing you. Nuka Hanas is like 2 damage, but I mean, hey, at least it can proc something. You know, at least it can do something. This thing just gives you a bunch of gold, which doesn't even scale properly, apparently. It's bugged. Of course it is. It's such a joke. I mean, if we're being objective, this is probably the worst item in the DLC. I mean, like I said, I put this like here. But I hate it, so it goes down there. My personal hatred is ruining my objective opinion on it, which should be top of D tier, but I'm putting it at the bottom. Sorry, Whispers. Even if this thing didn't... This item's stupid. Let me just tell you. If you pick this thing up, you get a bunch of free extra items in your run. You're always going to encounter a boss enemy by the time you pick this up. But any moment in the run you pick it up, you're going to kill at least one boss enemy, and you're going to get a free item from it. Doesn't matter what it is, that's just extra items. If you get this on stage 1, that's like 1, 2, maybe, I'd say like on a first loop run, you encounter like, it depends on what bosses you get, but I'd say you encounter like 15 total bosses. There's like 1 on stage 1 to 2, stage 3, 1 to 2 in stage 3, or stage 2 is 1 to 2, I was saying. Because you can either get like Dude Striders, which will spawn 2 or Beetle Queens, or you can get like a singular boss like Imp Overlord, or if you wait too long, you get 2 of those as well, or 3. And stage 4, depending on which stage you get, you either get like 2 bosses or 3, and then stage 5, you're probably gonna get like between 2 to 4, maybe 5 if you hit Mountain Shrines, even more. And the elite thing, this thing doesn't even need the elite drop rate thing to be good. The fact that just champion monsters drop it, and there's like naturally spawning champion monsters on stage 4, but the champion monsters are just like the boss enemies that spawn naturally, and not as like the quote-unquote boss health bar. Yeah, this item's crazy. The fact that you just get a guaranteed item from every boss enemy you kill is pretty cool and pretty broken, and probably should be nerfed to an extent, but I mean, it's a red item, so listen, I'm not really gonna complain about how broken it is, and it is pretty rare. You gotta roll like you're not gonna always get it, but when you do get it, whew. Now maybe the prayer beads with the printer is probably better than it, but this is probably the best item in the game, just because of that alone. Like, a bunch of free items. You encounter a lot of boss enemies. Just naturally. Not even just TP boss, man. Like, that shit's crazy. The funny item, too. I really like it. Electric Boomerang. Last, but certainly not least the red items. Probably my second favorite red item in the DLC. It's not probably third. Conceptually, it's not that interesting. This is my favorite one. This one's my second. Probably Verdict Lens is my favorite item in the DLC now that I think about it. It's a pretty cool item. And then I'll probably put Sales Star, then this, Chronic, this, and then probably Chance. No, Chance Star's probably like third or something. And this would be fourth. Anyways, enough about that. Electric Boomerang, pretty cool item. When I first saw this, I was like, 30% damage? What? This thing's probably bad. Then I use it in the game, I'm like, this is kind of goated. Hold up. Wait a minute. This thing's kind of cool. It also has a bug mechanic, because of course it is. This thing's literally the Sawmering. This thing shoots a little saw. It's a boomerang, but it's a saw. It shoots out, does 30% damage, hits multiple times into an enemy, has like a pretty good proc chance. It also guaranteed stun, so it can save you from the Elo Marine harassing you. Pretty fucking cool. And if you're holding a Sawmering as your equipment slot, it gives you free bleed procs, because it's literally just taken from the Sawmering code. So it functions the exact same as it. Pretty cool synergy, honestly, and I don't think Gearbox, please don't remove it. That's a really cool synergy, and I like it. I know it's unintended, it probably shouldn't be a thing, but it's kind of cool, so I think they should keep it. It's a really cool bug to me, but yeah, so it's pretty cool, and I'm always happy when I see it in my runs. This thing is a proc machine, baby. Really good item. Unintentionally also was one of the cooler bugs in the game. Yeah. Alright, and then Seed of Life, A tier. Now, why did I not put an S tier? You don't always need it. I do like the concept that we're sacrificing an equipment slot for it. And, actually, no, wait. Wait, I'm forgetting something. We'll get to in a second. But it's an S tier for a stupid reason that I found with me and my friends one time. That we just abused the shit out of it with Bottle Chaos. I'll get into that in a second. But, it's basically a free revive. When you die holding it, or one of your teammates died, you can just press the Q button. If your teammate's dead, boom, they're back. If you die with it, you come back. Pretty cool. I think it's an interesting item. I do like the concept of it. It makes the multiplayer a little bit more enjoyable if you're falling behind. Like, you have that one friend that just isn't very good at the game. You can always bring them back. But with Bottle Chaos has this item in its pool. And it's the good one, the revive one. So you just spam Bottle Chaos for a while, and suddenly, you're back alive. Now, Bottle Chaos getting the buff of the lifetime, going from C tier to B tier, finally. Which makes it kind of broken in multiplayer in some cases. You can just bring back your ally. Pretty cool. And if you get like a low cooldown equipment like Blast Shower, you can do that shit on the fly. Pretty cool. But yeah, anyways, the consumed effect is fine. I think this item should stay as it is. I don't think they should really rework it. It's whatever. I mean, yeah, that's my thoughts. Anyways, that's it for the tier list. We go from Sonorous Whispers all the way down to Still Terms, actually War Bonds. But yeah, that's my list. I will make probably an updated one once they rework all the items at some point. Probably look very different from what it is right now, except for Sales Star. That's probably just going to stay in the exact same spot because that's not getting changed at all, apparently. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 and, yeah. Also add to your favorites, too, since no one says that anymore. Yeah. Bye.